Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for iPad today is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com.
Coming up, iOS 7 is here. Hooray! We will weigh in on the good and the bad. Plus, a lot of iOS 7 updates are rolling in, and iOS 7 adoption is really, really high. Hasn't been that long. All that and something besides iOS 7, which involves shrimp on iPad today. This episode of iPad Today is brought to you by GoToMeeting with HD Faces by Citrix, the powerful, simple way to meet and collaborate with coworkers and clients from anywhere. You can share the same screen and see each other face-to-face with HD video conferencing, even present from an iPad. Sign up for your 30-day free trial today. Visit GoToMeeting.com, click the Try It Free button, and use the promo code iPad. And by Slingbox. Buy a Slingbox and turn your mobile device into a television. With Slingbox, you can watch high-def TV on your smartphone, laptop, or tablet anywhere there's an internet connection. Learn more at slingbox.com/twit. And by 99 Designs, the world's largest graphic design marketplace. 99 Designs connects businesses seeking quality, affordable designs with a community of more than 225,000 graphic designers. Visit 99designs.com/iPad today to receive a free Power Pack upgrade valued at $99. Hey, welcome to iPad Today. Where's Leo?
I don't know.
But I know you. You're Iyaz Akhtar.
That would be me, yes.
You're my co-host on Tech News Today.
Yeah, normally there's like a table between us. Now this is just weird.
Yeah, well, I see your feet.
Yeah, your feet are not on a little box or anything?
Don't tell anybody about my foot box.
All right. I did not
classified.
tell anybody about the foot box you use constantly on every episode of Tech News Today. I didn't say anything about it.
Vertically challenged people need boxes sometimes. Hey, Iyaz, thanks for joining me on iPad Today. Leo, of course, is on vacation for the next this episode and then 2 more after this. He is vacationing in Venice, Italy right now, and I don't feel sorry for him.
Fancy.
Definitely
deserves a vacation, though.
Absolutely. No, it's as some of you have emailed, they thought that Leo was getting a little crotchety as of late on this show. See, Leo he does it sometimes just to get everybody riled up. Mm-hmm. But he also believes that if we do a show about iPads and iOS 7 and the whole app ecosystem and something isn't right, we should be honest about that. It's not just a big cheerleading show, although of course we love our iPads.
And we love cheerleaders
and
too.
And that gets people up in arms sometimes. People don't necessarily like you to say, the iPad's not perfect and here's why. They take it very personally.
It's called iPad Today, though. Maybe that's why they...
But it's not iPad is perfect today.
It's not.
It's just iPad Today.
You're right. It does say iPad Today.
But yeah, I mean, if you zoom in, you won't see anything between iPad and Today. It's just...
I see clouds.
Well, some pixels.
Okay, pixels.
Yeah.
All right.
Finally, the moving clouds more closely resembles the home screen on iPad with iOS 7.
Great. Motion sickness.
When you move it around a little bit.
Yeah, watch that. Look, it looks like it's actually moving.
Yeah.
With your eye.
Right. Hey, so speaking of iOS 7, let's all just look at how it looks different. Let's all look.
Yeah, let's look.
What do we think?
Ooh.
Whoa, hey. Now, I tried to download iOS 7 on my iPad yesterday when we were all downloading iOS 7 for our iPhones. You said that your update started automatically.
Well,
I had to try a few times.
Well, first, I tried to get the update. I think it was like 10 o'clock when it actually went live. And then the download failed a number of times. I eventually just gave up. I'm like, forget this. I'm not going to bother. I haven't had iOS 7 this long. I could have gotten it. But then I decided, okay, around noon or so, I started messing with it. It downloaded the update, and then every time I tried to say install now, it says verification, spinny wheel. Couldn't do anything with it for a while. But finally, after I don't even remember. Maybe I was just hitting the buttons constantly. But eventually, I hit install now, kind of looked away, and then it went to the black screen with the Apple.
Huh.
And then it started doing it on its own. The weird thing was with the little spinny wheel, there was actually some glitches on the spinny wheel, and I'm like, this is probably screwed up.
Is that your home screen?
It's one of the new wallpapers from iOS 7.
Oh, you were a couple pages in. I thought you had no folders on your home screen.
This is my home screen here. I have folders in the dock.
Which isn't even full. That is interesting to me.
Well, I want the first page to be the most usable stuff for me. It's usually alphabetical, unless some new things come in. FaceTime showed up here. I used to keep it in a folder. So Apple decided to put it on the front page because I had space, which I didn't want it to do.
You didn't ask Apple to do that?
Nope, I put it in a folder somewhere far away because I stopped using it for the most part. I cannot stand the folders in the dock like this because now I get the animation. Like, oh look, we'll zoom in into that folder and now I can look in. Oh, look at that, that's great. But the point of this in the dock for me was to be able to see everything at once no matter what screen I was at.
Yeah.
And now it's like, okay, now I still got to do this. So I might as well just make it a page instead of a folder because it's just 9 at a time.
I know what you mean.
What about all the space here?
Part of me is happy that I can add more apps into a folder, like my photography folder. It used to be, it was full, so then I had to have like photography 2, and I just didn't like that. And now I'm like, ooh, I've got some space on that third screen. That's nice.
Can you put a folder in a folder?
No, that would be Inception, and that's not allowed.
No, it just you put it on top of it. It's like, nope, it rejects
it. Just says, oh, you mean you want to move things around?
Well,
you know what you can do is you can put Newsstand in a folder. Now, I've never really understood why people want to do that so badly, but it's a thing. It's really a thing.
I think I know why.
Why?
Because Newsstand had that little bookshelf look, right? And if you downloaded one book at all, it showed up. The icon changed slightly.
Correct.
So if you only had the one, you had this bizarre look. I know I had like a guitar magazine that way. And it was the only thing in Newsstand. And the new Newsstand logo has it like pre-populated with, you know, a fake travel and a fake art magazine and sports. So at least it looks less, it doesn't look incomplete anymore. It looks like a real thing to go into. There's that one guitar magazine I got for free. So that's what I think the real thing is. But yeah, I guess people are psyched you can hide it because, I mean, who really uses Newsstand? Oh, wow, there's all this.
Well, I do. I mean, yeah, I guess I hadn't even really thought about the fact that the icon itself now doesn't show the contents. But I have a lot of Newsstand apps. Newsstand comes in handy, and I'm having a very weird app update thing going on. It's really a snail's pace, so some of the stuff is going to look grayed out just because it needs to be updated. But when I'm traveling, I'll download the most recent update of a variety of. It's basically just like buying a bunch of magazines at the airport. That's what Newsstand is for me. So I do use it not on a daily basis, not even really on a weekly basis, but I do have a ton of stuff in there. I've got my music magazines and my New Yorker and that kind of stuff. Mad Magazine for the times I really like to laugh. But what's kind of interesting is, so I went ahead and added this just sort of weird picture it's just sort of sitting in my photo stream.
The Hallway of Doom?
The Hallway of Doom. Well, I wanted something that didn't have too much detail because I didn't want to take away from the apps. And I thought, well, maybe if it's something sort of dark in the background, it'll help the apps pop a little bit. And I think it works pretty well, but it's kind of interesting to compare between my background and yours because the folders being gray, that color doesn't change.
Right, so this is all whited out back here. You can see that.
I feel like the lighter background is a little more distracting.
I was just trying out different things. Originally, I had like one of the other wallpapers, like one of the grass things, because I wanted to see how, if this is the new wallpaper you're going to get with iOS, this is supposed to be, like, I guess, the best you could get for it, right? The other one that has is the one with the galaxy on it, or the universe.
Yeah.
But you know, you still see the weird parallax. I thought when I looked at this, I noticed the two-tone nature of this.
Right.
Because when you have the dock down there, you wanted to kind of pop a little differently, and I think that actually helps a bit when it comes to clarity. Because otherwise, to me, all these transparencies are a little bit troublesome for me.
Now, Leo had mentioned that he thought that all of the zooming and flying and moving, living, breathing effects made him seasick. In fact, I think he said, I'm sick using.
Is he in Venice? So like he's going to be on a boat, right?
Yeah. Now, granted, this was his iPhone that he had loaded iOS 7 beta onto. It wasn't an iPad, but I'm not having these problems. Tom and I were talking earlier that some of this stuff seems a little gratuitous, but it's certainly not making me feel sick or otherwise unstable. What do you think?
I definitely can understand the idea of having motion sickness with this, but that means you're really focusing on the effect as opposed to your icons. Because when I'm using my iPad, I'm using it to do stuff. I'm not using it to stare at the wallpaper. And Apple's got some dynamic ones, which would, I think, kind of make you sick. So you can see these dots are moving around. It's kind of distracting. It's kind of like the Android stuff you could get now.
Yeah.
But you do have like, oh, look, it'll move with it. It's supposed to anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't really see it moving.
Come on, move. Oh, I can see it kind of move, but you can't because
Oh,
it's just weird
yeah.
like that.
Yeah, you have to be at a certain
Yeah,
angle.
so I might get in the sickness aspect just because I did think it's a usage thing. You're not going to notice that as much. I think it's really about if you were using an iPhone and I hadn't seen that effect before, I'm like, hey, what phone is that? That looks really cool because I can see it from sitting next to you.
Exactly. There are a lot of little things. I complained earlier on Twitter that I think it's just weird that all of a sudden a URL is center aligned in Safari, where, since the beginning of browser time, it's always on the left. Then it goes to the left when you want to change it. That's weird. What's that about, I'm
going to grouse about the keyboard again because I don't get why in this day and age the keyboard can't show lowercase letters when you are not hitting shift or caps lock. It's still all caps all the time.
So Leo also has that argument, and I say, well, because all of our keyboards on our laptops and computers look like that.
Yeah, but they've redesigned all the buttons. Even the weird share icon this is the new share icon for iOS 7. It's a little square with an arrow pointing out of it. I guess the square is your device.
Yeah.
So we can get that because there's also ways to get things into the device. It's an arrow into the square or the rectangle. It might be a square. I can't tell from the actual proportions. But either way, that's not a share icon I've ever seen. So like, if they can redesign all these buttons, why not, when I want to type something here, does shift not change anything?
I guess it wouldn't be that hard for Apple to say, here, we'll add this to the general settings. If you want a keyboard that has upper and lowercase, go for it. You just turn it on or off. Because you're not the first person I've heard say that.
For passwords, it's actually where I care about it. Normally, it doesn't really make a difference.
Yeah.
But my passwords have all kinds of different characters, and I want to make sure I can have some kind of visual cue apart from hitting the shift button. And the difference between the gray and the dark gray, I get it. Everything's very subtle.
Yeah.
But sometimes you want a little bit less subtle when you're trying to figure out if you're caps or not, especially if it gets asterisked out when you're doing a password.
In general, I'm really happy with iOS 7. I've had zero problems, and I've only really had it on my iPhone for, 36 hours now, but I love it. On the iPad, I had some issues downloading iOS 7, and finally it went through this morning. I have had some extremely slow behavior. Like I said, I did have 187 apps to update today, so that's arguably maybe too much to do at once, but I mean, Mailbox has been uploading all day for 5 hours. Still not done. I don't know why.
I had that issue.
And you can't push it to go into loading mode, which is, I don't know if that's something that is just a bug right now or if that's a feature of iOS 7 that's been taken away.
What I had happen with my updates was I had 53 applications to update, and I guess I put my iPad to sleep. When I reopened it up, woke it up, it couldn't figure out how to do the updates anymore. I had to turn off the machine, turn off the iPad entirely, do a hard restart, and then hit update all again. Then they all started working. I just had to make sure that I kept it in that application at the App Store, and it worked fine. I don't know if that's an actual way to do it or if it's just a superstitious way. Because I know when I was trying to do all kinds of updates, I was like, I'm going to hold this button a little longer. I know I shouldn't do anything different, but it did work for me. So, but you also have 1,000 apps.
I have a lot of apps, and in iOS 6, this particular iPad, it's a road warrior, so I'm always pushing her to the limit. So she does experience somewhat slow behavior. It's definitely not just iOS 7, but I have had to hard reset twice today, just kind of moving around. At one point, I couldn't get past my lock screen. I was like, did I just brick my iPad? It just kind of ended up waking up. It's just strange behavior. And this is actually something that some developers were worried about, that iOS 7 for iPad didn't seem as far along as iOS 7 for iPhone, and is it really a good idea to launch both at the same time? I don't know. I hope I don't have to keep resetting my iPad, but that's something if you haven't already downloaded iOS 7 and stability is of utmost importance to you, you really should wait, because there are going to be a few software updates, big stuff that bugs will get squashed and things will get fixed. that we'll see rolling out.
It definitely seems a little slower, like wallpaper. So I'm going to select a wallpaper right now.
Oh yeah, that's the slowest thing in the world.
I'm like, maybe it's just mine. I have the I have the latest generation. Oh, that was the quickest I've ever seen to do it. But yeah, I'll click and just wait 1, 2, 3. Now then I would click a couple more times. So that's the way it's working, and I'm just confused why it's slower now, other than the fact maybe it needs to figure out orientation, so when I move it, maybe I'll notice something. But
yeah, there's probably some sort of a photo conversion thing that happens when you select it, because I thought the same thing earlier. This seems like a not really graphically intensive task.
Well, that is hideous.
That's I don't like that at all.
Let's set both to that hideous thing so I can really hate it. I hit set both.
So that's what else do we have? You know, a couple of the things that I noticed. If you go into the App Store in iOS 7, you now have this option near me, and I was like, near me? What's that? Apps that are popular near where I am geographically. And I thought I can't think of one app that would be interesting to me in that way. However, we hear sometimes people complain that an app like Foursquare or even really Yelp or something that's based on places doesn't work it just depends on where you live. It works well in urban areas or places that are dense that just have enough other people who are using the app to make it fun. So this could be a good idea if you're interested in apps that you just feel like will have a lot of traction in your general neighborhood.
Yeah, I think like that little screen that you have there shows that, NYC, you have like a subway app, a couple of things that would make sense if you're a visitor somewhere. Otherwise, like for what I'm getting as my results, like people apparently want to listen to baseball scores or podcasts.
Yeah.
Maybe at Twit, they actually want to, around Twit, they're like, I would care about podcasts or SoundCloud. Maybe SoundCloud is just Jason, who's using SoundCloud for all kinds of things.
Yeah, it's funny. So, I mean, obviously we're both sitting here in Petaluma, so it's like, what do people care about in Petaluma? A lot of sports.
Music.
Some music and babies.
What's Redwood CU?
I don't. Oh,
Redwood Credit Union. So I guess that's a local branch that you probably wouldn't even know.
People care about sports, their finances, their children, and good music. It's basically the perfect town, Petaluma.
Yes.
Obviously.
You're absolutely right. And fantasy football. Fantasy football.
Yeah, just have a little fun while you're at it. So that was kind of interesting. Otherwise, of course, we have some different gestures. So you and I are both extremely used to swipe to the right and you get your spotlight. You quickly search for apps by swiping to the right. And when you first set up your iPad, it will say, oh, you don't do that anymore. And you kind of go, okay, next. And then I was like, seriously though, how do I search? Because I have too many apps. It's like, I don't know where anything is. I use search constantly. Well, search is now here. But if you don't do it well enough, then you get confused, and then you pull down, for example, my calendar. Yes, it's fine weather, yes.
Yes, for today.
So it's sort of like a purposeful push is all of your notification centers, and then just a little one is your search. Works fine once you realize that's how it works, but I couldn't remember. I couldn't figure it out for a while.
I think we all got a little iOS 7 crazy, because you're right, there's this little thing that tells you in the beginning, Spotlight has moved. And I was like, okay, that's fine, sure, whatever.
Yeah.
I just flicked it away, and then I couldn't find it either. I had to look it up because I was constantly bringing down this Today window. I just constantly would do it. I couldn't figure it out. I wish when you did this to the left, or you were swiping, it would just say, it's not there anymore.
Yeah.
Just tell me that. And then eventually 7.1, you just updated to not have that. But it could just, you got to stay in the middle. There you go.
Yeah.
There's the search, and there's my new really horrific looking wallpaper.
What is that?
It's colors, lots of colors.
It's
so
awful.
Look at my folders; they're less noticeable.
Well,
I don't know.
is it iPad or iPhone 5C colors? Is that not even really? No.
I don't know. It looks like the stuff that you got on the Nexus 7 as well.
Abstract mumbo jumbo. And then of course you have your new settings area, which is it's a full screen thing on the iPhone. It's just a little bar here on the iPad, but this is really nice. I mean, it's a shortcut to turn on and off Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, or access your camera, your alarm clock. Of course, the alarm clock is completely timer, world clock. All this stuff is. I like it. I think everything looks a lot better. In fact, it looks like some of the third-party apps that we've recommended in the past on the show, because we just think that they look really cool. Very, very, very Windows. Really.
Because of all the transparencies?
Yeah, and just the the flatness, the icons, the fonts. A lot of this reminds me of what we saw from Windows Phone when everyone went, ooh, that's nice.
I use a lot of gestures with iPads. I don't like.
Yeah.
I didn't want to wear out the button. That's usually one of the reasons why I do all the gestures. I do the 4-finger swipe up, and I constantly wanted to get to my widget area where you'd have your music player and your other settings. And obviously that got changed with this whole control center deal. So now I've got to remember this new one, like you were showing just now. But if I go into the task switcher like I'm used to, I don't have that option of the widget I used to have for the audio player. And of course people are going to scream Windows, Android, or WebOS because of, look at this, I can throw away all my apps.
Which is nice if you care about that sort of thing. It doesn't really matter. It's not like they're,
Doesn't it matter? Live previews?
A little bit, I guess. A lot of the stuff, though, it bothers me because, okay, so for example, music, you've got the music app, right? And what's in it? It's just I noticed that there are a lot of big white screens unless you're in, you're in full screen app mode. So it sort of makes that fast switching look junky. You don't want to see a bunch of white pages. You want to see some sort of representation of what's inside there.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know if I like it, but it's good to, if you have an idea of the last thing you were working on, it's a little bit easier sometimes. I know when it comes to Google apps, I use a lot of those.
Yeah.
So all their icons at some point kind of look the same to me. Chrome and Drive and everything else, they have that same color palette. And so I can tell with my eyes the actual spreadsheet versus a browser. Sometimes the logos, though, they don't make any sense to me. So that does help in some respects this morning when I was trying it out. But it's a change. It's a big, big change.
So somebody in chat reminds us to talk about iTunes Radio. Of course, that's a new feature in the latest version of iTunes that allows you to pick a station of a particular genre or that's based off of an artist you really like to get a bunch of music that's similar to it to basically customize your own station. This is sort of Apple's Pandora competitor. I've tried a few different stations out. It seems to work well. If you skip enough songs, it'll tell you you've reached your maximum. So in general, it's still going to have the same limitations that any music service would have that's built this way. But it is new, although I think that Apple is now competing with itself because by offering a product like this, if it works well, by definition, it's an alternative to buying music, which is how Apple makes money in iTunes. So if I've got a hip-hop genre station in iTunes Radio that works like a charm, why would I ever buy any of that music? Because I already have it in my radio station.
But if you do iTunes Match, you pay, what, $25 a year, and then you lose the ads? Isn't that
Correct.
the gimmick? So I think that's the only other way they'll make money on it. Because
yeah, I guess that's true.
Otherwise, you're getting ad-supported content.
Right.
I had iTunes Match because I wanted to try out all different cloud services. This became like a little bonus of, oh, I got this radio thing. I still haven't messed with it too often because, like, I just got this to load yesterday, and as you saw on my device, I just had iTunes Radio show up as a, oh, don't forget that exists. Like, oh yeah, I forgot. I haven't bothered with that yet.
It's kind of interesting. If I go to, so this morning I was listening to Daft Punk station because I wanted to compare it to Pandora and see, okay, well, what is iTunes Radio giving me? And it's kind of interesting. If I go to radio, it's like, well, you listen to Embody by Sebastian, which is 129. So it's still giving me a very easy way to quickly impulse purchase some stuff that I listened to this morning. Again, why do I want to muck up my iTunes with a bunch of songs? Well, I could just play them from the ether.
Because you might be offline? The only gimmick? If you're on an airplane or whatever, you don't have connectivity unless it has Wi-Fi. That's a whole bunch of ifs, if possible, qualifications to actually have audio streaming on that. So maybe that's what it's for. If you really love a song, I know if it's classic, like old classics, I will buy those. I don't want to try to stream and hope that somebody doesn't screw up like the Beatles catalog. It's like, I'll buy that, which I've already owned and I ripped it myself, that kind of thing. But if I'm afraid that some record company has some issue with Apple and then I lose this ability to stream it, that seems like the only time you'd worry about it. But until that happens, I don't know if people are going to notice that.
Right. It seems like it doesn't happen often enough for it to not be worth it. We got an email. Actually, this is a pretty popular tip because some people really have an issue with all of the zooming and the wishing, and the iOS 7 is all alive. Walter from Chelsea, Alabama wrote, say that you have a great picture that you love to see when you use your iPad. I do too. But do you hate the way iOS 7 zooms and tilts and fuzzes your razor-sharp picture? He says, here's how to fix it. You open Settings, then you tap General. Come on, Settings. Open up. Okay, we're already in General. Accessibility. and then turn on reduce motion. Now, I did this earlier. Turn on. Now it says reduce the motion of the user interface, including the parallax effect of icons and alerts. So I'm like, well, I don't really know what any of that means, but it probably is going to do a lot less zooming and whooshing. But I don't see the difference besides the fact that now my image is static behind my icons. I mean, if I'm opening up stuff, I don't know, it seems like I'm zooming around as much as I would have before. So I'm not really sure what changes here.
Like what's a reduction in motion? Apart from the parallax, I don't know.
That's still a lot of zooming.
Oh, this just, as you're doing that, I can hear like Johnny Ive talking. It's like, it makes sense. It does make sense. These are inside of the apps. These are inside of the little icons and everything. But like, I don't know if you needed this kind of metaphor to explain what's going on with this at this point, because people understand tablets. It's not like if this is brand new and you're like, I don't understand, where did this thing go? Where did the application go? Oh, it went back over here. But like this metaphor has already been explained for what, 2 or 3 years now when it comes to tablets?
Yeah.
A bunch of years when it comes to iPhones. So
this is the very beginning of a public version of the new OS. Things will change. We've got a lot of folks in the chat room saying, well, look at the camera app's different, and we'd sit here all day only talking about the little things that have changed, and we want to save a little bit of that for next week as well. But in general, I like it. I am not bothered by the color scheme at all. I think it took me 5 seconds to get used to it. Maybe because I've seen so many pictures of it online. It just doesn't bother me.
Color scheme doesn't bother me. The settings icon has to go. That is the ugliest icon I've ever seen in Apple. Yes. That looks like something.
Okay. If we're talking ugly, the Safari logo is pretty bad.
Safari's, at least that's supposed to be a compass. This thing with the gears, okay?
You're not happy with that.
This looks like something you get on a bad Android skin. That's what these two things look like, actually.
I think it kind of looks like a sink drain.
Or like a garbage disposal.
Made by Mercedes.
Yeah, that's a good one. But that doesn't look like settings anymore. That gear is hideous. I don't like it. I don't see why that had to be changed. The camera one I kind of get, but
yeah, the camera one's nicer.
It just looks like a third-party knockoff thing.
Yeah, some of the design changes are just, we're just gonna have to get used to them. And then of course some of the third-party app icons look horribly dated. I mean, look at
like Foursquare.
Well, Foursquare updated there.
Did they?
Yeah, that's some sort of like a weird flattened hybrid.
Yeah, it is.
thing.
You're right.
Well, like where was the one?
Twitter's flattened. Path is flattened.
Oh, I saw something earlier and I thought, boy, that's rather hideous. Well, now I can't remember.
There's Apple's own iMovie, which doesn't look like it looks anything like the other icons. I'm waiting for this to change.
Yeah, that does look bad,
because this looks, it's got, I don't know, you can't see that, but it's got the little red curtain back there and the gold star.
Yeah.
And the camera.
That's skeuomorphic. Hey, yeah. Apple, get on it.
That's going to go away.
Skeuomorphic.
Pretty soon when they get to that. But yeah, yikes.
Okay. Well, we have some iOS 7 news. It's been quite a week with people buying iPhones and iOS 7 and all sorts of good stuff. We will get to in a second. But first, let's take a moment to thank our first sponsor, GoToMeeting, for sponsoring this episode of iPad Today. Leo and I love GoToMeeting because it allows you to meet with each other when you're not always in the same place. Some of you may know, if you watch Tech News Today 5 days a week, that a couple days a week, I work from my home office. I'm not in the office. I can't be in a meeting. We meet about all sorts of stuff, new show ideas here at Twit. We talk about the strategies and what we should buy for lunch to put in our lunch cabinets so that everybody's happy and have a lot of junk food, all that stuff. You gotta be in a meeting. You gotta sit down and hammer through some stuff. But in this day and age, increasingly, we're not all in the same place. You might have employees or colleagues that are in different countries or traveling a lot, and you have to meet on a regular basis. What are you going to do? GoToMeeting is absolutely the answer for you. It's the benefits of being able to see each other. And not just see your colleagues, but if Iyaz wants to walk me through some sort of a presentation he's thinking of giving at a tech conference, he can show me his screen. He can say, okay, well, this is what I think I'm gonna do second, and then we're gonna move on to this next page, and what do you think about this image here? So we're collaborating. It's not just looking at each other, in HD, by the way, but it's also being able to look at each other's computers. GoToMeeting allows you to share that same screen. You can turn on your webcam, see each other face-to-face in HD video, and it's easy to launch or join a meeting from anywhere using your computer or your phone or your tablet. GoToMeeting is extremely mobile, so if you're on the go, you don't have to worry about saying, oh, I gotta get somewhere into a room where I can sit down and get to my computer. You've already got it. You can even present from your iPad, so that's good for all you iPad Today viewers. Try GoToMeeting free for 30 days with this special offer from us to you. Go to meeting.com, then click Try It Free button, and use the promo code iPad. I'll tell you that once more. Just go to gotomeeting.com, click the Try It Free button, and use the promo code IPAD. Go to Meeting, because meeting is believing. And thanks to Citrix, our friends, and GoToMeeting for sponsoring this episode of iPad Today. Okay, you guys were talking about this on Windows Weekly today because you filled in for Leo. Windows Weekly records before iPad Today on Thursdays about this whole Microsoft iPhone, iPad trade-in promotion.
Yes, we did.
Now you're chuckling a little bit,
yes,
because I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that you think it seems a little desperate.
Not desperate. I don't think Microsoft's... Okay, so the way this thing works is you take an iPad and you give it to Microsoft, and they'll give you like up to $350 on a Visa gift card or one of these gift cards, and then you can apply that, use that $350 balance to buy another product like a Surface. The thing that drives what I was laughing about is I don't think Microsoft is planning for success, because if this works, what are they going to do with all those iPads? What are they going to do with all these devices? Now they have a glut of these devices.
Right.
I don't really think they're really taking this seriously. Like, oh yeah, you know, I'm going to definitely trade this in so I can somehow eventually get a Surface product through a gift card.
It does seem like, yeah, I mean, if the promotion goes well, and the whole point is, yeah, you want a Microsoft product, let's get rid of these iPads. And they say you can get up to $350. There are other, some of them are sponsors of Twitch shows. There are other companies that end up reusing, recycling programs where you send in something and you get cash for the product that you want next, the bigger, better product. But yeah, where would Microsoft put all of these iDevices? Would they keep them in a big warehouse somewhere? Would they recycle responsibly? Why would Microsoft want to be even tasked with that?
Because they can sponsor Will It Blend or something, just killing iPads left and right.
Oh, maybe it's for some grand commercial down the road.
Yes,
yeah, Dynamite.
The stacks of iPads we got for this.
Maybe Microsoft knows not that many people are going to do this.
That's why I was like, there's no way they're planning for success on this.
Right.
Why would they?
So it's like a PR stunt thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you're interested in getting rid of your iPad for a Microsoft Surface, you can get up to $350 back. I don't know, I thought that was, it's Microsoft saying, hey, Apple, let's talk about us. Google has made Quick Office for Android and iOS free, bringing Microsoft Office editing to the mobile masses. Now, somebody in chat earlier said you have to have a business account for this to work. But that's not what this article says. Quick Office, I'd love to show you it updated, but it one of my 187 apps that are not updating very quickly. So I don't know if you've got Quick Office on your iPad, Iyaz.
Not yet. I'm going to try to get it. If it's free, it used to be $15, right? And now it's free?
Yeah. And what's nice is that is a great way to access Microsoft Office stuff.
Put in a password, so.
Oh, yeah. Quick Office. Quick Office is not something. Let's see. Who knows? Maybe Quick Office is done. Let's see. No. It is not done. Darn it. Oh, well. Well, if you're a Quick Office user, that's good. Although, if you already have it, then I guess doesn't really matter that it's free. But if it's something that you were held back on, then you should go get it. Get it now. iOS 7 adoption is kind of crazy as far as the number of people who have converted. I think part of it is there was a big hullabaloo about the fact that iOS 7 was really, really different. Certainly within the people that I'm following on Twitter and Facebook and social networks, that's all anybody was talking about yesterday. I mean, you'd almost think that more people used iOS as opposed to Android, because we know that there are just way more Android users in the world. iOS 7 adoption is already as high as 35% conversion in one day. That's insane, don't you think? Especially since the downloads and the updating were, for a lot of people, crashing. People couldn't even get iOS 7.
Yeah, considering all of the changes, the fresh coat of paint, the look of iOS 7, the criticisms there, that does surprise me a little that it reached 35%. But I don't think I've seen enough features touted about iOS 7 that makes it seem like, oh, I must get it. I just think because it's the newest thing, people wanted to get it. They wanted their iPhone 5 to not look as dated, maybe because, oh, look, it has this nice new look. I think a lot of people got sick of that big glass look as well, and they wanted to switch that way. 35% just shows you how well Apple can get their stuff out there through iTunes or over the air. It's not like they have to wait for carrier approval and then the manufacturer has to work with them. Because they're making everything from end to end, it makes it a lot easier to do this. So that's just a great model for them to be able to do this whole iOS 7 adoption. And I'm sure they're going to crow about that at some point, saying like, look how fast our users move over to iOS 7. It's new, and hopefully a lot of the developers are following suit by updating their apps, as like your 100 did there.
Yeah, 187. Yeah, it's really made my iPad impossible to use. None of the apps that I want to use and show you. I mean, look at my favorites folder. Everything's grayed out because they're all updating. I could probably get rid of my nightstand app. I'm not exactly sure why that's in my favorites. In fact, this is a great time to maybe rethink some of the way that we've bundled our apps together. I've got Tweetbot, Flipboard, Instapaper, NPR News, Instagram, Nightstand, Scout Mob. I don't even remember what that is. TwitPad, of course. That's a given. Facebook Messenger. So yeah, this is. I really don't think I need my Nightstand app to be on my iPad at all. Save myself some space.
Is it just not responding there, or is it just slow to respond?
You can see it's really slow. It's sluggish. It's very, very sluggish.
I'm trying to hook into OpenOffice, but like I need my password from LastPass.
And then what? Now, how many apps do you have on your iPad? Because I have so many that my iPad is barely hanging on by a thread, and that's just sort of the way that it is.
I know I've got over 50 because 53 needed updates today. So I'm not sure offhand. I know over the course, like I think iTunes keeps a catalog of it, so I have downloaded over 100 or so of them, but not on this device. Maybe about 50 something.
Yeah. All right, what is next in iPad news? Oh, you know, something that happened earlier in the week is Amazon Instant Video updated its iOS app to incorporate AirPlay, so that you could AirPlay content from your iPad to your Apple TV if you had one. Now, you said that you sort of ran into some almost weird video conversion issues.
Yeah, so the original version of Amazon did do AirPlay, but it was audio only. So you could watch it on your iPad and listen to it through your home speakers, which was really kind of stupid if you wanted to do that. But then when I actually got the AirPlay video streaming feature, I found out that when I was watching Breaking Bad, no spoilers on Breaking Bad, when I was watching it and I went to the Apple TV, it looked like it was the 8-bit version of it. It just was all crunchy and terrible, and it took it like maybe 10 seconds to get to full HD.
Yeah.
So I was concerned that perhaps Amazon was limiting the resolution that you were going to get.
Yeah.
It looks like you can get HD just fine. It's not like you're going to watch a 480p image. It was a very good picture on the Apple TV once it resolved. But yeah, so we've got Breaking Bad, yay, which I get over there.
Sure.
Which is, you know, such a lighthearted show.
Yes, it's funny.
Oh yeah, actually it is kind of funny.
It's a snooze fest.
There's a lot of dead time in the thing.
Nothing really happens.
I can't even hit play on this because it's so violent. So I don't think it's a good idea.
No, and of course the spoilers as well. So you figure, okay, well, if it's Amazon, but they're incorporating AirPlay, how could Amazon? I guess you could write something into the app that would just throttle video quality back in order for there not to be some sort of a delay on the show or the movie starting.
Could be something like that. It was buffering and trying to get the content up there. I did notice something about the Amazon app there. Just remember this. I don't believe it plays videos in the background. So if you're going to run a video on this and you switch to like Chrome or something, video stopped. At least it did for me when I tried it out like a day ago. So unless something has changed, you have to leave your iPad alone when you set this up. It's kind of a little frustrating because I like, YouTube app doesn't do that. A lot of apps don't do that. You can just run the video in the background, AirPlay it, switch apps, do something else. So you lose your second screen, potentially.
Now, are there any third-party apps that you have, at least so far? We'll see a lot more app updates that are supposed to fit within iOS 7 in the coming months. But any apps that have really stood out to you, like, wow, this looks awesome in iOS 7 third-party app. I mean, Pandora has a new app. They made a big deal out of it. Yahoo updated their iOS app as well to... It's really less about iOS 7 and more the fact that Yahoo just got a new logo, and so there's a lot of things that are working differently. But what do you think about the third-party apps?
You know, I haven't actually had enough time to mess with all my third-party apps because usually I didn't go into all of these things. As you can see, one of the apps here doesn't even have a real logo. That's Couple. It's got the weird grid. So I'm not sure what that's going on there. But yeah, I haven't messed with it too much. I think the most thing I'm most impressed with Calendar, ditching all of that stitching.
Yeah.
So this is a first-party app, obviously, but this is the thing that stood out to me because I ended up getting Agenda based on iPad today because I wanted a calendar that actually worked and was less hideous and was easier to use. But this is the kind of thing I want to see, is that this is nice and neat and fits everything. Not answering your question, though. Not third party. First party.
Well, that's all right. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, I think we've read about some apps that are new and improved, but you look at them and it's like, well, the operating system almost doesn't really factor in, because once you're in the app, you're in that world.
But you want to still feel the thin fonts and everything. You want to have that same look. So
yeah, there's some sort of a consistency thing there. Yeah.
Because I think when Chrome updated, it had the same kind of thing. When I ran it this morning, I had the old version, and it had the old buttons, the old keyboard style. So it looked a little dated, and then when you did the little update, you got the new keyboard. You got a little bit thinner fonts. It wasn't a huge difference, but it was just clean enough that it fits.
How do we feel about the dots rather than the bars? Now, when you say something like, we're on Wi-Fi right now, so it's full bars, but if I'm out on the street and I'm using LTE, do I say things like, I've got 3 dots, my connection could be better, rather than 4 bars? I don't know. I haven't had the opportunity to say that yet. Or is it going to be like, you know, when we say things like tape, we're going to tape something, even though we're not using tape anymore. It's like a holdover from the days of bars.
I think people are still going to call them bars.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's going to care about the dots. They might not even know what they are, quite honestly. That doesn't look like a signal indicator to me.
No, it sure doesn't.
It looks like it could be a battery indicator, and although we have a battery indicator on the right, it just doesn't look like. It's like, why is this like a little ellipses, Verizon? Oh, that's nice. Nice for that. Well, I don't think people even will recognize that. It's even so much wider than the bars, it seems like.
It's messy, sort of. I don't think it looks bad. So nobody write in and say that I'm just being a hater because I don't like the new dots.
I'm nitpicking and angry
but
about
it. But you notice it. It's busier looking than the bars, or maybe, I don't know, maybe we just have to get used to it. But in general, I really like the new lock screen. I think that's lovely. Oh, look, here, my iPad's being temperamental again. Okay, so, you know, you've got your little slide to unlock thing. I've got my, I don't know why I chose that picture. I thought it was funny. But this looks nicer. This is beautiful. Then you enter your passcode, and then you get that flying thing that makes Leo sick. But yeah, I don't understand what that general accessibility setting is. When you reduce the motion, it doesn't seem like anything is reduced.
There's a bunch of things you have access to in the beginning, like your Today view. That by default is on. So if you don't want people seeing your calendar without entering your passcode, you got to go into the notification center settings and then turn that off.
Right.
Because I was just messing with it. I'm like, why is all this data just up front? Like, it just seems like here my IMs are popping up, all this stuff. You go to notification center, you can turn off the Today view, the calendar view, reminders if you want. Actually, this is actually the Today view. On the lock screen is where you can turn it off. Because I don't know if somebody's just going to grab my iPad and take a look at it. So it just depends on how paranoid you are, or if you just want to be secure, because sometimes there's data in there I don't want people seeing.
Of course.
So it's just kind of like, oh, that's on by default, so take a look at that in the notification center. Yep. There's a lot more there.
Definitely a lot to get used to, and it's a polarizing change. Sometimes people just hate change and they're going to complain because it seems different. But I really like the look of it. The colors don't seem to bother me. This whole flattened thing. I'm in the camera app right now. This is what my iPad sees when we're doing the show. And all of this in general, there are areas where I say it doesn't really seem cohesive. The camera app, for example, has kind of got this, you can do your video, your photos, or your square cropped photos. And
so the camera's seeing the metal pole.
Yeah, you're right.
Reflecting.
Yeah, I could, there you go. Hey, chat room, talk to yourselves. But, but in general, I like it. But I've got friends who are like, ugh, I am rolling back to iOS 6. I hate this. They have like a visceral negative reaction to the way that things look. I guess it's just it's a personal preference.
So you got like the forestall people, and then you got the Ive people.
I guess.
Yeah, here's my little today screen. I do like this. It's very Google now. It's very it's informational. Like I need this information anyway. But like I was saying, I constantly was accidentally bringing it up because of Spotlight versus this guy.
Yeah, that whole thing is gonna take some getting used to.
Yeah.
And then sometimes the keyboard's dark, and then sometimes it's
bright,
and I don't. Maybe that will stop being weird, but to me it's still a little bit weird.
And this is a very drastic change from iOS 6.
It's a drastic change,
yeah. And by 7.1, no one's going to even notice this anymore. It's
right.
Like, oh yeah, that's the big bright colors.
Exactly.
End of that.
Yeah. I do really like iMessage. Well, I don't like iMessage. That's well documented.
You mean the redesign?
But I like the little bubbles. I'm not going to show you any of my messages because that's classified, but I think that it's well done. It looks nicer.
I haven't gotten a chance to even mess with that yet.
Well, it's nice. There's a little bit of a
this.
gradient. You know, as a message sort of is older in the past, it starts to fade a little bit. Your newest message is the bright blue rather than more of a faded blue from a few conversations ago. It's nice.
Oh, okay, that's subtle.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I'd show you a message,
the messages either. I'm like, nope.
Yes, my friends send me weird screenshots of things. It's just I don't want to upset anybody. All right, let's take a moment to thank Slingbox. So they are our second sponsor of iPad Today. We love Slingbox. Leo was always talking about how he brings a Slingbox to a ballpark. You know, he and Lisa are always going to the 49ers games now, and he likes to see instant replays, which is great on a Slingbox because, of course, they're not going to show you that on the Jumbotron in a stadium where people are going to start fighting each other. So Slingbox is the way to turn your iPad or another kind of mobile device into a television. When I say that, I really mean it. With Slingbox, you watch high-definition TV, the same TV that you would have at home, in your living room, home entertainment center, whatever, on your smartphone, on your laptop, on your tablet, and you can take it anywhere that there is an internet connection. It's awesome. The Slingbox 500 this is a device. You hook it up to your cable. It's got built-in Wi-Fi, HDMI connectivity, full HD 1080p video. With Slingbox and then the app, you watch that high-definition television that it is sending to wherever you are, again, on any of your devices, and you can even wirelessly archive your photos and videos to enjoy them on your TV at home, wherever you go. You can watch and control your home DVR from anywhere. That's actually the neat thing. You think, okay, so this is some sort of a live TV thing. It can be, but it can also just be anything that you have saved on your DVR. Maybe you're behind all 5 episodes that we've seen so far on the season of Breaking Bad, or 4, or however many we've had, and you're going to be somewhere, and you're not going to be at home, and oh my gosh, wouldn't it be nice if I could just be home to access my DVR. That's exactly what Slingbox is. In fact, it looks like your DVR. You can even use the remote that you're used to and be able to, you can set alarm or recording times for shows just as if you were at home, but it's remote. Slingbox is amazing. And it's not just for travel. You can watch your favorite shows in your backyard. Hey, it's tomato season. Maybe you're spending a lot of time back there. You don't have to miss something. Or your garage, or in a restaurant. If you want to be really, really rude. Or maybe you're dining alone. I do that sometimes, where I go have a glass of wine. Well, I want to feel like I'm out and about, but really I just want to watch my stuff. Slingbox could do that. Just put my little iPad next to me at the bar. That's not weird, right?
No, it's going to definitely get you some people. People might end up talking to you, though.
I think probably people would end up buying more Slingboxes because they'd be like, that's amazing. How are you doing that? It's great. Never miss a show that you want to watch, ever. And again, they're in HD. The stuff looks amazing. You can get a Slingbox today. Check them out at Best Buy or at Amazon, or just go to slingbox.com/twit. Find out more about how Slingbox works. They've got nice little instructional videos and a lot of specs on the hardware and software and how to get it set up in your home as well. Slingbox.com/twit. Turn your iPad into a television. Simple as that. All right, let's move on to some of the feedback that we've gotten this week. You know, I opened up our iPad Today inbox thinking that we would have a lot of people complaining about iOS 7 because I've heard that from my friends and peers in real life. and there wasn't a whole lot of it. And maybe you guys are either not updating yet because you're smart enough to wait, you love it, and you find no problems with iOS 7, or I don't know what the third thing would be.
Or you just invited everybody to write in to complain about it since you haven't received enough complaints.
Apparently, yeah. Apparently,
I think you might have done that.
Maybe you just needed me to prompt you.
Yeah.
To tell me exactly what's wrong with iOS 7. It's actually helpful. I mean, if enough people seem to really, really hate some sort of a change or a feature being taken away, then it's important to highlight on the show because it might be something
that was like that mute switch change. Remember that was mute and there was this screen rotation and then they took it out and brought it back.
Now you get your choice.
Yeah. So
what you want it to be.
That's the kind of thing. Yeah. If there is a real issue, I haven't found real issues with it yet.
Yeah.
I'm sure someone will complain.
Yeah, it just seems more like a stability thing. People are complaining a little bit about battery life issues. I've seen some of that. I'm not having anything that seems glaringly like, ooh, this is a problem. They're going to have to issue a patch. But I've definitely heard other people saying, I was at 70% and an hour later, my iPhone or my iPad was dead. That's not good. But anyway, we'll go to Tony from Albany, Oregon, who says, I bought my iPad with Retina just a couple of weeks before the iPad mini came out. Okay, so this is last year. And the surprise iPad 4th gen. I was annoyed. But now that iOS 7 is here, I'm noticing that one of the new features I'd really like to take advantage of, AirDrop, is only available on the Mini and the 4th gen. This really frustrates me, and I can't see a logical reason to hold back all that feature on older devices other than forcing people to buy new hardware. Does it make sense to you? They say it just uses Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. Love the show. I don't really use AirDrop all that much. I have, but I'm not quite sure why Apple would restrict that, but it's sort of like Apple restricting Siri or
I'm just trying to think. They don't sell the 3rd generation of iPad anymore. They only sell the 4th generation iPad, the iPad mini, and I think they still sell the iPad 2. What's the cheapest one they have available?
Yes, I think you're right.
Is Retina display.
Yeah,
maybe
because technically, that's right, because this is an iPad 3rd gen, and technically this is, it has been retired.
Yeah, so Mini, there's the Mini, the iPad 2, and iPad with Retina. So the idea is that they aren't supporting it at all, which seems a little lame.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any technical reason for it, other than processor-wise, there shouldn't be that big a difference. I know that they changed the processor in the iPad with Retina, the 4th generation. Certainly the other thing they changed the Lightning connector, which probably has nothing to do with anything. So why technically it couldn't do it? Maybe it's processor intensive, but I don't think that'd be the issue. It just seems like Apple's just drawing a line because they don't even sell this device anymore.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't have a good reason, Tony. That is frustrating though, especially if AirDrop is a protocol that you're wanting to use on a regular basis.
I just use Dropbox, go around it.
Yeah.
Heck with Apple.
Who wants to use Apple's own solutions anyway? Go third party when you're sending files. AirDrop. AirDrop actually works really well. Yeah, Tony, that's annoying. I'm not exactly sure what the answer is. Did you notice that I changed my? You guys may not have heard that. While you were talking just now, I changed my text message notification.
Did you notice that the old text messages now have a sound section called Classic?
Yes, I did.
How lame is that?
You think that's lame?
Well, instead of having a list of all the audio tracks we have, now we have them separated out. So I have to go into Classic to get my old ones back.
So
like
let's show you guys. If anyone is sort of like, what are you guys talking about? Okay, just go into Settings, and then you go into Sounds. Now we've got a variety of.
So, if you go to
let's go to like text tone, right?
Yeah.
So
there we go.
Yeah. So right now it's like, oh hey, there's a bunch of new tones that I'm not familiar with. Wait, what do I have? I have tritone. It's in our little classic section. Tritone is, do we hear that? Oh yeah. Yeah, so that's when I know that, oh, I got a message on my iPad, but this is all the old stuff. So now I've got all these cool new options, and I really like, and nobody take my idea, this is mine, synth. I love that one.
That's only for you. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's just they made it for me. Nobody used that, or we'll all get confused when we're out at dinner together and we'll all rush for our iPads and iPhones. That's a little something.
Yeah, I thought the new, like another one of those, like, what phone is that? What's that noise?
Right.
It's brand new. I also changed my text tone from spell to something else. Actually, I don't even know what I picked. A long time ago. I did this morning, so I don't remember.
And then, of course, you've got the store for, like, tones that are cooler that you pay for. I don't don't even think I ever realized that that was something that was built into our settings. A
It's in there?
store area for ringtones.
Yeah, I'm not going to be using that.
Yeah, I know.
Just make my own.
Exactly.
Hello is what I have. Yep.
Oh, that's a nice one.
Yep.
That's very nice.
Sounds like hello.
All tones. Yeah, good stuff.
Classic. I can't believe they put in classic.
Look at this ringtone. It's like a whole ringtone market. It's awesome. I don't know. Maybe I need a Keith Urban ringtone. That's weird. Who wants that? That's so weird. Rock ringtones, hip hop ringtones.
Star Wars, apparently.
Star Wars ringtones? That I'm into. Hold everything. Let's see. Do we get
previews?
You must have a. Do you get a preview? You have to, right?
All right, so this was in alert tones?
Oh, here we go.
This is madness.
Can you? That would only be funny once, and then that would be the most annoying text or ringtone ever.
Especially if you got a friend who texts a lot
Yeah, right?
in a row.
Okay, I'm definitely going down some sort of alert tone rabbit hole. But yes, you've got some options there. There's a whole market for ringtones. Who knew? All right, here's another email from John who says, I was watching last week's show about watching over-the-air content on iDevices, or the lack of really a good solution. He says, Leo's right on using a Slingbox, but the Slingbox doesn't work on a digital TV converter to my knowledge. I also have an OTA, an over-the-air antenna, and I purchased a TiVo with lifetime service to watch over-the-air content and record it to. I would recommend that the viewer who wrote in about this issue to get a TiVo and a Slingbox so he can stream his shows to his iDevices anytime he wants. Well, yeah, that would be a solution. The problem is that the question was, is there some sort of an antenna, an over-the-air antenna that you can hook up to your iPad to be able to get network stuff, broadcast HD signals? And Leo and I said, well, no. I mean, there's Aereo, which is a service that kind of works that way. There's also, oh gosh, what's the name of it? iTV.
iTV does have one for the 30-pin connector version of iPad. They don't have it for the Lightning one, as far as I know.
That's iTV, EYE
Yeah,
TV.
it's $100.
But with iTV, you still have to sign up for a service.
Oh, right.
So you're not just pulling content, from a frequency, from an antenna on the hill.
This is with Dial.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
So you gotta access major network TV with Dial. Works with the Apple Lightning 30-pin adapter. So if you're going to use this, you have to use the adapter, the 30-pin to the Lightning adapter. So you have this giant chunky thing hanging off of there. And you're right, you got to sign up for that. Yeah, that's really no easy way to put a TV tuner on that.
It's too
No
bad
easy
because the iPad is, in a pinch, it's a great little TV if you want to watch stuff. But no, unfortunately, it just doesn't work that way.
Not yet.
Different kinds of tuners. Yeah. I actually brought that up to Leo. I was like, how long before we get a nice, and he laughed. He said, that'll never happen.
So you're
But never say never.
It'll be on Kickstarter.
The world's a different place than it was 5 years ago.
It'll be on Kickstarter tomorrow.
That's right.
Right now.
Yeah.
Figure
and the
it out.
networks will go nuts, as they do.
What's just an antenna?
Right.
It couldn't be that powerful.
Yeah. They just want us to pay. All right, got another email from Kevin who says, I just wanted to say that I've been using iOS 7 since the first beta was available for the iPad. I was going to install it on one of my 2 iPads so I would have one stable iPad, and then I ended up just installing it on the second iPad after only a couple hours because it looked so archaic comparatively iOS 6, I guess. He says, I absolutely love iOS 7. So we did get some feedback, but in general, people seem pretty pleased. I think it probably has less to do with the fact that we all think that this is the best design ever, and just it feels refreshing. The iPad has felt a little, nothing's really changed in so long. So it's like we get this change that's sort of psychological because for the most part, the iPad behaves exactly the same. It just looks a little different. It's a new dress.
The design from the 3 to the 4 looks the same, and it's kind of like something has to look different if you can hang with this device.
Exactly. Got another email from David Wenzel. He's a doctor in Boston, and this is really interesting feedback. He says, as I was listening to you lament about the iPad camera, as well as the notion that most people won't be using the iPad to take serious photos. What is that?
That's the doctor.
Oh, that's the doctor?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, David Wenzel, the cat doctor. Brian, what is happening back there? Are you on something? Good grief. Got a weirdo at the controls today. Dr. Wenzel says, as well as the notion that most people would not be taking serious photos with it, because we said pretty much, hey, the photo editing tools on the iPad are great, but you don't really use this as your go-to gadget for taking iPads or taking photos unless you have to. He says, I want to agree with both Sarah and Leo that the iPad camera needs an update. He says, I routinely take photos of skin lesions and anatomic features that patients can't easily see on their bodies. Sounds like he's a dermatologist. The large screen makes it easy for us to review and discuss the findings immediately, as well as point out stuff like, you know, if it's benign or something troublesome. He says there's nothing like sharing and enhancing photos on the back of one's neck with a patient who has never worn an adequate app cap or sunblock. I don't think a lot
of people are thinking of using the iPad for that. I know there's a 5 megapixel.
It's a very specific case.
5 megapixel.
Is your iPad ringing?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It's got
Do you need to answer that?
No, I don't. 5 megapixel camera. It's more like the iPod Touch. It seems like Apple's really been keeping the cameras specific to iPhone, and they seem to trickle down eventually. Because I think they just updated the iPhone 5S with a new 8 megapixel sensor. Right. It seems really cool, but the 5 has the old one. Until the 5S moves to like 12, then we'll see 8 on the iPad, I think. I'm waiting too, because I'm one of those weirdos who does take pictures with his iPad, only because I'm sitting around either on Chrome or something, and then something happens in front of me, like my dogs will do something. Yeah. I want to take a picture of it. I'm not going to rummage around for a phone. I'm just going to switch to the app. So it's not like I'm at a concerts like this. But you want a good camera. And then I'm sure Apple's going to say, you know what you could do? You could do photo stream. Use an iPhone, take a picture, it'll show up on the iPad, and zoom in.
That's one of the things I like so much about PhotoStream. Although the pictures do get downgraded slightly. Yeah, if you're not using PhotoStream hooked up to iPhoto on your laptop. However, unless, again, some of those arguments are a little bit like, in general, when you hear that, you go, well, then I never want to access PhotoStream on my iPad because I would just be enhancing photos that aren't the most beautiful quality, the original quality. But, I mean, are we all blowing them up to huge images that we're putting on our walls? For the most part, it's like stuff that you're uploading to Facebook or sharing online. I don't know how much it matters.
I haven't tried this out with iOS 7 yet, but I know that PhotoStream now does video uploads. Didn't do that before. That was a kind of an annoying point where, took a bunch of videos and, where'd they go? They never ended up in the PhotoStream. That I want to try out later on. I haven't even messed with it.
I haven't even attempted to. I don't take that many videos on my iPhone or my iPad, actually, but they're there. There's a few of them. There's a handful of them. But yeah, David, thanks for the note about how somebody in the medical field would want as good a camera as possible. I think that this would apply, to doctors' offices or a lot of jobs and trades where people are using an iPad all the time.
And we're assuming he's doing this for work, right?
Yeah. Well, he is a doctor.
Yeah, well.
And he says this is when he is with his patients. So
he says of patients. He didn't say his patients. I don't know what his hobbies are. I'm sorry, Dr. Wenzel. I'm just messing with you.
Oh, he's a dermatologist. He's saving lives. Okay. With iPads. My goodness, we are all very important here. Reminder that we love hearing from all of you. We want to hear your feedback on what is wrong with iOS 7, what you love about it, how your favorite third-party app works so much better, how you have a lot of crashes or battery life issues, anything. Reminder, you can write us at iPadtoday@twit.tv. You can leave us a voicemail, 757-504-IPAD is our number. Or you can send us a video, can be a question or a comment or an idea, or you can show off an app. You can show us your own app cap if you want. Just upload the video somewhere and send us the link, and thanks in advance. All right, before we get to our App Cap Awards, we want to thank 99 Designs. They're our third sponsor of this episode of iPad Today. 99 Designs is awesome because it connects people like me who don't have a lot of design know-how. In fact, not at all, with people who are extremely good at it, people who are part of the graphic design community. In fact, by using 99 Designs, I have access to 225,000, more than that, graphic designers from all over the world who are good at all sorts of really incredible designs. Yeah, maybe I want to design a new iPad app. Well, maybe I have a really great idea, but I don't know how to design anything that's going to wow them. There's so many good designers out there. How do I have access to these people? I don't really have any good design friends. If you need a logo or a business card, maybe you'd like to print some t-shirts, just anything that requires graphic design, you can find the right designer for your project at 99 Designs. So If you're wondering how it works, goes like this. You tell 99 Designs what you need. So I explain my app concept. And I say, well, you know, here's maybe the color palette that I'm looking for. Here's kind of my idea. And then dozens of designers from the community submit designs that they create for you. You give them some feedback. You end up really liking a certain style, and then you select and pay for the one you like. If you're developing an iPad app, you can get anything from icons and buttons, or just the entire mobile app designed right at 99 Designs. In fact, we're showing some of the really cool styles that people in the iOS world have designed with 99 Designs. This stuff looks really good. You can start your next graphic design project for as low as $199. Visit 99designs.com/iPad today and get a $99 power pack of services for free. That's our gift to you. A power pack gives you more designer time and attention, so you're kind of like a VIP in 99 Designs. 99 Designs will bold and highlight and feature your design project in their marketplace, so you might even get twice as many designs as you would have gotten normally. So it's a really good offer. $99 power pack of services, completely free if you visit 99designs.com/iPad today, right now, or at your leisure, on demand. Thanks to 99 Designs for their support of iPad today. All right, Iyaz, I think it's time to don some app caps. And talk about 2 apps. Ooh, this is nice. That we love.
All right.
Yo, that's a good one. I love it when Leo wears those ears because they're so tall that they bleed right off of the screen.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to see.
It's like you're about to fly away.
There we go.
That's a nice look for you.
I think it's the way to go.
I do.
I'm going to
agree.
start styling my hair that way.
I mean, even without the ears, maybe you just ought to wear like a nice fitted black cap on a regular basis.
It might be my new look starting in 2014. I'm going to start looking into that.
Good.
Maybe overalls too while I'm at it.
Excellent. Oh, that's going to be a good looking Iyaz. Okay, so this is the part of the show where me and the unlucky co-host put on hats and talk about the 2 apps of the week that we really just like and we think that you should know about. Now, my app, I frequently pay a lot of attention to cooking and recipe apps because I'm a mediocre chef who has delusions of grandeur in the kitchen. So anything that's cooking and food related, I'm like, ooh, that's the iPad app for me because I'm going to use it. This app, I think, is worth it because it's a different type of cooking app. It's not just, okay, here are a bunch of recipes that are helpful to you, which are a lot of my other, I've got a whole little cooking folder here, and I've got all sorts of apps that I like for a variety of reasons. Some of them are still continuing to update for the 13th hour. But a new app called, I don't even know where it is on my iPad right now, so let's...
Hope it updated.
Oh yeah, me too. There it is, Cook. It's called Cook, the World's Cookbook. And it's...
Named after Tim Cook of Apple.
Yeah. True. Well, yeah, and it's got a hatchet icon, so that's how you know it's good. The idea behind Cook is I can create my own cookbook for myself or to share with people that might be interested in my recipes. Now you say, well, okay, what's so fun about that? But it's kind of neat because you can create something that is, so, here's my little profile and here's my little space within Cook. What I was telling you about earlier in the show is that I wanted to talk about shrimp dishes. So I've got a little section here. I can make as many sections as I want in my cookbook of stuff that I'm good at. So I can say, okay, well, this is my shrimp area. Maybe there is some sort of like a fun shrimp cooking, I'm trying to think of like an event that my friends and I could do where we all rate each other's shrimp dishes. I don't know, something that you could do for fun on a Sunday.
Shrimperama, of course.
Shrimperama,
exactly.
Right, there you go. So maybe I would want to collect all the recipes here and then share them with everybody after the fact. Be like, that was so much fun, here's everybody's recipes. So if I look into my shrimp recipes, here's my little title here, I called it Shrimp for Days, haha, see what I did there. And then I go ahead and click on one of my recipes, and this is my favorite shrimpy recipes for Maximum Happy. Now, Here is one of the recipes that I actually entered from scratch. This area here will just be absolutely blank by default. So let's say I want to go and make some annotations. I can say this particular recipe here serves 4. I can change that. I can say, okay, here's how much prep time you might need, cook time. Here's how many people you can be expecting to serve. It's pretty much just like any cooking recipe that you look at, but you are actually making this yourself. Here are your ingredients. Here's the steps that you have to take in order to make this recipe. I've gone ahead and changed a little bit. So once it's saved, well, here's my recipe. Now, of course, this is like a little shrimp crepe that I used as my image. So that's sort of the image of my shrimp page. But if I want to make another page, I'll go back to my main Sarah Lane area. Whoops, I went a little bit too far. I can't figure out how to change the mushrooms. I don't really want my cookbook to
like fungi?
To be fungi. Well, I'm okay with mushrooms, but I don't know that that's exactly what I want my cookbook to look like. But I guess it all depends on what's on the inside. So if I wanted to create another area, then Cook would say, okay, well, what's this going to be? Maybe it's all egg dishes. And then I can collect my stuff, return. I'm still sort of getting some of this down. Open up my egg dishes area, and then go ahead and add a recipe again from scratch. There we go. Yeah, and then you start just typing up a recipe, and you can see, here's your ingredients, here's who you're expecting to serve, and your method. Now you might say, and then I can say I choose to share with friends, because you can connect to your friends, or have a secret app or a secret recipe.
You could have a secret egg dish. You might have a Eggs Benedict thing that you want nobody to know about. Now the sharing on this, do you have to be a part of? You have to have this app to get it, or can you just share it like via Facebook or Twitter or anything like that?
Yeah. So good question. So yes, let's say let's go back to my shrimp recipe because that's an actual recipe. And what if I say, I'm still getting some of the navigation down with this guy. Okay, so I say. Yeah, this is awesome. I want to share this with you, Iyaz. Now I can share it via Facebook, Twitter, or like let's say I wanted to message you, and I just wanted to share, this recipe using messages. I can say, Iyaz, and then what it'll do is it'll give me a web permalink. So if you don't have this app, it doesn't matter. It's not going to force you to be to have the Cook app yourself. You would look at a permalink version of the recipe that I created, but it has the same formatting. You still see the photo that I uploaded, and my directions are exactly the same. It's sort of like a snapshot of the app. So this is for somebody, I think, who is, first of all, has no problem inputting your own recipes. Like the shrimp dish in there, this is actually a shrimp dish that I made over the weekend, which I improvised, and it's really good. And so I'm like proud of it. And I couldn't copy and paste it from anywhere because it didn't really exist before. I just threw some ingredients together and it ended up working out. So I'm sort of happy about that. I'm sort of proud about that. I'm happy to share. And I'm probably not going to write a cookbook anytime soon, so I like the tools within Cook so that I can gather some recipes together in one place. And again, yeah, if you're going to a barbecue or for whatever reason, some people could contribute to your shrimp page or some other egg dishes page, then you're looking a little perplexed.
Can you share the whole cookbook if you have like lots and lots of recipes, or do you have to share per?
Yes.
Okay, you can share the whole thing.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
That's what I was curious about, because like if you're like, I want to know all of your shrimp dishes, how do I do that?
Right, exactly. Yeah, you can, and people can comment and like certain recipes versus others. It's very good for those of us who don't mind a little data entry in order to feel like we've put something really thoughtful together. Recipes are not super fun to look at in general. They should be functional, but this gives them a little bit of a visual thing too. And that's pretty much it. It's free, so don't freak out if you're like, this isn't for me.
I'll freak out anyway.
It's completely free.
How do you how do you find friends that have the app as well? Like you put in, does it like link to Twitter? Does it link to your contacts?
Yeah, exactly.
That kind of thing?
Yeah,
okay.
it's the standard. It's absolutely the standard. Yeah, if I wanted to search for you, it would see that if you have a if you have one of your cookbooks. But yeah, there's some featured recipes. If you're sort of like, I don't know, I think I need some motivation to get started. I can go ahead and add this healthy cookbook that somebody else made to my area. So it's not just my cookbook. It can be a collection of anybody who's adding recipes to this. It's just it's a visual, almost like a art collage book.
The sharing
but for food.
It reminds me of like a flipboard, the way you can flip these other recipes in. You can bring these things in, but they're from your friends or your own.
Yeah, or the cook team. What do they have in the healthy section? Healthy, you are what you eat. Ooh, Garden Heart, 8 recipes. I quit sugar. Oh my God, it's made for me. I quit sugar every week for like a day. So yeah, we've got breakfast casserole, raspberry ripple. Sarah Wilson, who is a food expert of some kind. Yeah, so if I go in and look at, okay, this raspberry ripple would serve 8 people. It's only about like 15 minutes or 50 minutes. This is put together very well. But look, there aren't that many ingredients. I could do this.
Can you rate your friend's stuff?
Well, I can like it or I can comment.
Okay.
So if I don't like it, you just don't give it a heart. But let's say, Tina says it's full of sugar. That's kind of funny. Oh, it's not. There isn't any sugar in this entire recipe. Calm down, Tina. All right. Well, there you go. Anyway, that's Cook. Cook is called Cook the World's Cookbook is the full title in the App Store. And it has a hatchet as an icon. Who doesn't like that?
I think it's a cleaver.
Oh, yeah.
A hatchet would be a little bit more violent. But
a cleaver.
A cleaver is actually something that you get with your knife set. Wait, did your knife set come with a hatchet?
I don't even have a knife set. I just have a bunch of I buy like one knife here and there at Bed Bath & Beyond every once in a while. It's not.
I think each knife probably costs more than my set then. If that's how you get them, one by one.
Yeah, it's kind of janky, my little kitchen knife set. But anyway, enough about my app cap. What is your pick of the week, Iyaz?
Okay, so what I did was I went through my iPad to see what I had on there because I've downloaded a whole bunch of stuff, and every now and then I get a music app because I play guitar. And I happened to find on my iPad TabFinder. I don't even know when I got this, when I downloaded it. Was it free when I got it? Because it costs 99 cents right now. But you do, if you don't know about Guitar Tab, it's a way for you to read music without having to know how to read music. So if I wanted to look up a song like Here Comes the Sun, I love the ears right here, by the way. Let me hide this. Here.
Oh, the audience is used to it with Leo, too.
So I'll type in a song I want to find the guitar tab for. And here we have a list of the different tabs. So Here Comes the Sun, George Harrison. That's the song I want. Now what's going to happen is on the right side, we're going to get the guitar tab. That's what these numbers are. It's telling you where to put your fingers on the fret of the guitar. Now, what's really cool about this is something that you can't do with the book unless you have an automatic page turner. You can actually have it scroll automatically. So as you're playing along, this stuff is moving up. You'll know what you're doing as you're going along. I know I've learned to play a bunch of Beatles songs. I have a book, and as I get to one page, I have to stop, turn the page, look it over again.
Right.
And I cannot remember how I got this app at all. It's 99 cents at this point. The guitar tabs are hit or miss. These aren't necessarily official guitar tabs, so they might be taken down by somebody eventually. And something that's not obvious to me, by the way, if you look up here, it says Here Comes the Sun, 5 versions. Now, how do you get the other versions? You click down here, it says Tab V1. That's where the different ones are.
I see.
Because I kept clicking this arrow thinking like, oh, that'll give me another pane to work with. It doesn't. Just hit that here. There's also a built-in chord dictionary, so if you want to learn something like I want to learn D, well, because D is in this, you will click D, and you will see how it looks on a guitar. So you'll know where to put your fingers for that. It's pretty simple. It's very powerful. I'm telling you, the auto-scroll feature is freaking fantastic. I would love it if I could sync it to the songs I have on my iPad.
Yeah.
So I could have it timed properly with it, but this is as good as I'm going to be able to get it right now. It's also very good because you can choose how fast and how slow you want this, because you could have complicated tab, or you could have really simple tab. You don't even need this moving very much. You could also favorite them. So like here's a couple of Foo Fighter songs here, While My Guitar Gently Weeps. This one you wouldn't really need to scroll because it's got all chords, pretty simple there. But it's really powerful if you like finding guitar tab. I found their library, their search works pretty well. So if you like playing lots of different music, they seem to have lots of different things. I haven't looked up any songs that I haven't found. So we'll see how that goes in the long run. But it's called TabFinder, it costs $1,
TabFinder is sort of an odd name. It reminds me of some sort of like a browser add-on, doesn't it?
It's Guitar Tab.
Yeah.
It's called tablature. And
Once
that's
you know that that's the reference.
Yeah, if you know sheet music, then you don't need anything like this. But I don't know sheet music. I know chords and I know how to read Guitar Tab. So this makes it a lot easier for me to pick up songs, even though I don't know how to read sheet music.
Well, the iPad is saving you from having to do the hard work.
I think I actually I have Music Tutor. I think I actually do have something that's supposed to teach me to do that. I just haven't bothered to do that.
Yeah, clearly you haven't started it yet.
Yeah, I will probably like I would rather learn to play it than to actually like, oh wow, that's C minor and this big. I don't need that. I just need put this finger on that fret. I'm good.
So TabFinder, all one word, 99 cents. That's a cute little icon too. TabFinder guitar tabs. Well, it is like a search engine for guitar tabs.
At $1, and I mean I've seen a lot of other guitar tab things out there. They have tons of ads on there. They don't have auto scroll going unless you pay an extra fee. I think for $1, this is really good.
Yeah, it seems like a very good
nice,
deal.
It's clean, it's pretty. I like the favorites as well.
Very good. So we've got a cooking app and an app to help you play guitar so that you can serenade that person after you make that shrimp dish.
Shrimp songs.
And they are ready to,
Look, there's a song right now. This is perfect. I could learn Plate of Shrimp. No thanks. I could learn Plate of Shrimp. So while you're cooking shrimp, I could play this. Looks pretty basic
by
here.
a group called Bad Acid Trip.
Well, yeah.
That's how you know it's good.
Who else would be singing about shrimp? Or Shrimp Shack Shop?
Sure.
Easy to say.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot of guitar tab there.
No, that's an easy one.
Dead Shrimp Blues.
Ooh.
Okay, this would be fun. We should do this.
By Robert Johnson. He knows a lot about the Dead Shrimp Blues, from what I've heard. Yes. Who knew that shrimp were such a popular guitar song?
Yeah, I think Plate of Shrimp just works fine.
Plate of Shrimp.
I will learn Plate of Shrimp.
Please do.
By Bad Acid Trip.
The next time you're on iPad Today, I would like you to perform Plate of Shrimp for us.
Okay, it's gonna suck.
Okay.
I promise. I'm not very good at this.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of high hopes for a song called Plate of Shrimp anyway.
Okay, fair enough.
But you never know. All right, well, that brings us to the end of this episode of iPad Today. Iyaz Akhtar, thank you so much
No problem, Sarah Lane.
for agreeing to sit here, even though you're doing like 12 other shows today.
No, this is 3 of 4. I got one more after this, and then I will go home.
And then you get to relax a little bit. Well, thank you. The audience loved the last time you were on the show, and I know that they're happy to see you back again. So please do come back anytime.
Thanks. Yeah, well, I will. I will show up anytime. I'm not going to tell you when the next time I show up.
Yeah, just...
There are 4 seats here. I don't know why I don't sit down regularly.
Just lay down in front of us. There's plenty of room. By the way, we really never mentioned this, but Leo and I talked about the iPad stand / toilet paper holder hybrid.
Yeah.
A couple of episodes ago, and Burke just went out and got one. So now we've got one in our studio here. I don't think that we should bring them into our public restrooms because that gets weird.
Yes.
But
also
maybe
want people out of the restrooms.
If you're interested in having something like this for your own home, it's pretty well made. It's we got sort of sturdy. You've got this nice kind of a chrome look here.
Well, this is designed for the current iPad, right? So if they change the design, you're out of luck.
Well, I guess that's true. Yeah, the Mini isn't going to work so well with our toilet paper iPad stand. Seriously. I know. Yeah, exactly. You'd have to sort of pad it with some stuff, rubber bands. Thanks, everybody, for watching iPad Today. See you next week. Thursdays at 1 p.m. Pacific for those of you who like to watch live. In the meantime, enjoy iOS 7, and we'll see you next week on iPad Today. Oh!